First Contact Fiasco. The Zylaxian Diplomatic Disaster. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, countless civilizations had risen and fallen, each leaving their mark on the cosmic tapestry. Yet none had quite prepared the galactic community for the enigma that was humanity. As the newest members of the interstellar neighborhood, humans had quickly gained a reputation for being unpredictable, resilient, and oddly endearing. This reputation, however, came at a cost, one that the Zylaxians were about to pay in full. The Zylaxian Empire, a civilization of highly intelligent, silicon-based lifeforms, prided itself on its diplomatic prowess. For millennia, they had brokered peace treaties, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges across the galaxy. Their success rate was impeccable, their methods foolproof, or so they thought. Ambassador Xorax, the most decorated diplomat in Zylaxian history, stood before the Supreme Council, his crystalline form shimmering with anticipation. Esteemed members of the council, he began, his voice resonating through the chamber like the chiming of bells. I come before you today to propose our official first contact with the species known as humans. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Humans were a hot topic in galactic circles, their rapid technological advancement and expansion into space both fascinating and concerning to older civilizations. Are you certain we are prepared for such an endeavor? Asked Counselor Zix, her facets glinting with skepticism. The reports we've received about these humans are disconcerting, to say the least. Xorax's form pulsed with confidence. I assure you, Honorable Counselor, that I have studied their culture extensively. Our approach will be flawless, our introduction impeccable. The humans will welcome us with open appendages, and a new era of cooperation will begin. Little did Xorax know that his extensive studies had one critical flaw. They were based entirely on human fiction, particularly their science fiction entertainment. The ambassador had mistaken these works for historical documents and cultural guides, leading to a series of assumptions that would soon prove disastrous. The council, swayed by Xorax's unwavering certainty, gave their approval. Within solar cycles, a Zylaxian diplomatic vessel was en route to Earth, carrying Ambassador Xorax and his team of eager xenologists and cultural experts. As they approached the blue marble that was Earth, Xorax addressed his crew. Remember, based on our research, humans expect visitors from space to arrive in specific ways. We must not disappoint them. With that, he gave the order to position their ship directly over New York City, engaging their most impressive light display. On Earth, it was a typical Monday morning. New Yorkers rushed about their business, taxi drivers honked impatiently, and street vendors hawked their wares. The sudden appearance of a massive, crystalline structure hovering over Manhattan quickly changed all that. Panic erupted in the streets. Car accidents piled up as drivers craned their necks to gawk at the alien ship. Social media exploded with blurry photos and wild speculations. Government agencies scrambled to respond, their protocols for first contact woefully inadequate for the reality unfolding before them. Oblivious to the chaos below, Xorax prepared for his grand entrance. Initiate the tractor beam, he commanded, certain that this was the proper way to invite human representatives aboard. The beam of light shot down from the ship, latching onto a yellow vehicle below. A taxicab, as fate would have it. Inside, seasoned cab driver Joey Morelli had been in the middle of a heated argument with his passenger about the fare. Both fell silent as they felt the car lift off the ground. What the hell? Joey exclaimed, his thick New York accent laced with disbelief and a hint of anger. His passenger, a Wall Street executive late for a meeting, merely whimpered and clutched his briefcase tighter. As the taxi ascended towards the Zylaxian ship, Xorax rubbed his crystalline appendages together in excitement. Our first human delegates approach. Prepare the welcome celebration. The taxi, with its thoroughly freaked-out occupants, was deposited unceremoniously in the ship's docking bay. Joey, never one to back down from a confrontation, threw open the door and stormed out. Listen here, you oversized disco balls. You can't just go around picking up hard-working folks like this. I got fares to collect, yeah, hear me. Haxorax and his team stared in confusion. This wasn't going according to any of the scenarios they had studied. Where were the eloquent speeches? The offers of advanced technology? The warnings about humanity's destructive nature that they were prepared to graciously forgive? Greetings, Earth ambassadors. Korax finally managed, his form flickering with uncertainty. We come in peace, seeking to share knowledge and forge a cosmic brotherhood. Our research indicated that humans always send their best and brightest to meet alien visitors. Surely, you must be leaders of great importance. At this point, the Wall Street executive found his voice. Leaders. Important. Do you have any idea who I am? I'm the CFO of. He trailed off as he fully took in the alien beings before him. Oh God, I finally cracked from the stress. I'm hallucinating giant talking crystals. My therapist warned me about this. As Korax attempted to salvage the situation, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. A junior officer rushed in, his crystalline form vibrating with panic. Ambassador, the humans are attacking. Their primitive aircraft are approaching rapidly. Outside, squadrons of fighter jets had been scrambled, circling the alien vessel with a mix of awe and determination. On the ground, tanks rolled through the streets of New York, and world leaders were being rushed to secure locations. Sorax's grand plans for first contact were crumbling before his eyes. He looked helplessly between the belligerent cab driver, the cowering executive, and his own panicking crew. This was not how first contacts were supposed to go. There were protocols, traditions, carefully choreographed exchanges of culture and technology. Instead, he found himself in the middle of a chaotic mess that threatened to spiral into interstellar conflict. As fighter jets began firing warning shots near the ship, Haxorax made a decision that would go down in galactic history. Retreat, he cried, his usual melodious tone cracking with stress. We must rethink our approach. The Xylaxian ship, with its unintended human passengers still on board, shot up into the atmosphere, leaving behind a thoroughly confused and alarmed Earth. As they broke orbit, Thorax slumped in his command chair, his crystalline form dulled with disappointment. Perhaps, he mused, watching Earth shrink in the view screen, we should have started with a smaller city, or sent a probe first, or actually talked to a human before trying this. Joey Morelli, standing nearby with his arms crossed, snorted. Yeah, and maybe next time don't go kidnapping random folks off the street. That's just rude, you know. As the ship streaked across the solar system, Thorax realized that the path to understanding humans would be far longer and more complex than he had ever imagined. The Xylaxians' first contact had been a fiasco, but it was only the beginning of a journey that would reshape galactic diplomacy forever. Little did they know, back on Earth, the incident was already being spun into a dozen different conspiracy theories, blockbuster movie plots, and late-night talk show monologues. Humanity, in its own chaotic way, was taking its first steps into a larger universe, whether the universe was ready for them or not. Cultural Crash Course. Ambassador Kree's Earth Immersion. In the aftermath of the Xylaxian diplomatic disaster, the galactic community was in an uproar. Emergency sessions of the Interstellar Council were called. Fingers were pointed, or appendages were waved accusatorily, depending on the species, and everyone agreed on one thing. Someone needed to clean up this mess before humans decided to point their quaint little rockets towards other inhabited worlds. Enter Ambassador Kree of the Aetherian Collective, a race of ethereal beings composed of pure energy. Known for their patience, adaptability, and ability to assume almost any form, the Aetherians were the natural choice for a more subtle approach to human relations. I volunteer to immerse myself in human culture, Kree announced to the council, her voice a soothing hum of harmonics. I will live among them, learn their ways, and gradually prepare them for the reality of galactic society. The council murmured their approval, relieved that someone was finally taking the sensible approach. However, Counselor Zix of the Zalaxians couldn't resist a parting jab. "Just ensure you don't base your research on their science fiction this time," she chimed, her crystalline form flickering with embarrassment. Cree, being energy given sentience, simply pulsed reassuringly. "I assure you, my methods will be far more thorough." And so, on a crisp autumn morning, in a quiet suburban neighborhood of Minneapolis, Minnesota, a new resident moved in. To human eyes, Dr. Karen Ethers appeared to be a perfectly ordinary middle-aged woman with a slight ethereal glow that most wrote off as good genes or an expensive skincare routine. Cree, now Karen, stood on her new front lawn, surveying the neighborhood. Children rode by on bicycles, dogs barked in the distance, and somewhere a lawnmower hummed. It all seemed so quaint. Her first challenge quickly presented itself in the form of a cheerful woman approaching with a covered dish. "We're to meet you." As they chatted, Cree's mind raced. The casserole was an offering, clearly, but was it meant to be consumed immediately as a sign of acceptance? Was it a test of some kind? She made a mental note to study this casserole phenomenon in depth. Over the next few weeks, Cree threw herself into human life with gusto. She joined local clubs, attended community events, and even got a job as a high school science teacher. Each day brought new discoveries and confusions. One particular day at school proved especially enlightening. As Cree explained the basics of atomic structure to her class, a student raised his hand. "Yes, Timothy," Cree acknowledged, pleased by the apparent interest. "Ms. Ethers, is it true that atoms are mostly empty space? So we're all basically nothing?" Cree paused, momentarily stunned by the profound nature of the question from such a young being. In her true form, she was intimately familiar with the nature of matter and energy. For a moment, she was tempted to launch into a lecture on quantum fields and the true nature of reality. Instead, she smiled and said, "In a way, yes. But it's the arrangement of that nothing that makes us who we are. It's quite fascinating, isn't it?" The class nodded, some genuinely intrigued, others just happy for the brief diversion from their textbooks. Cree made a note in her ongoing report to the Galactic Council. Humans, capable of profound insights, yet often unaware of their own potential. Further study needed. As weeks turned to months, Cree found herself increasingly captivated by human culture. She cheered at local sports games, though the concept of competitive physical exertion for entertainment remained puzzling. Binged entire seasons of reality TV shows, an anthropological goldmine, she assured herself, and even tried her hand at cooking, with mixed results. Apparently, not everything benefits from being charged with pure energy. One evening, as Cree sat on her porch enjoying the summer twilight, her neighbor Susan joined her with a glass of wine. "You know, Karen," Susan began, a hint of conspiracy in her voice, "I got to ask, what's your secret?" Cree felt a moment of panic. Had her cover been blown? "My secret?" she asked cautiously. Susan laughed. "Your skin. It practically glows. What products do you use?" Relieved, Cree chuckled. "Oh, just good clean living." And being composed of pure energy, she added mentally. As they chatted, Cree found herself genuinely enjoying the company. These humans, with their brief lives and limited understanding of the cosmos, still managed to find joy, create beauty, and ponder the deepest questions of existence. It was endearing. However, Cree's mission wasn't all wine and casseroles. She had a job to do. Prepare humanity for galactic integration. Her reports to the Council were a mix of observations, recommendations, and pleas for patience. "Humans are a study in contradictions," one report read. "They possess technology capable of destroying their entire planet, yet still argue over which rectangular cloth to pledge allegiance to. They create art that moves me to my core, figuratively speaking, yet also produce something called reality TV, which I suspect may be a form of mass psychological experiment. Recommendation: approach with caution, but also with an open mind. They may surprise us yet." As her first year on Earth drew to a close, Cree found herself facing an unexpected challenge. Attachment. She had grown fond of her human friends, her students, even the quirks of daily life that had once seemed so alien to her. The thought of eventually revealing her true nature and potentially losing these connections filled her with a very human-like sense of dread. On a crisp autumn evening, exactly 1 year after her arrival, Cree sat in her backyard, gazing up at the stars. She could pinpoint exactly where her homeworld was, countless light years away. Yet somehow, this tiny blue planet had started to feel like home. Her contemplation was interrupted by a soft meow. A neighborhood cat, a frequent visitor, hopped onto her lap. As Cree gently stroked its fur, marveling at the simple pleasure of it, she came to a decision. In her next report to the council, buried among observations about human politics and recommendations for future diplomatic approaches, she included a small personal note. Request permission for extended stay on Earth. Humans are not yet ready for full disclosure, but they are worth the wait. Also, I may have adopted a cat. Further updates to follow. As she sent off the report, Cree smiled to herself. Tomorrow was another day of pretending to be human, of teaching young minds about the wonders of the universe, while carefully omitting just how much of it she had personally explored, of navigating the delightful chaos that was human society. It was going to be, as her students would say, awesome. Little did Cree know that her adventures on Earth were just beginning. The galactic community watched with bated breath, or whatever passed for breath among non-oxygen breathers, as humanity inched closer to the cosmic stage. And Cree, the energy-being turned high school teacher, found herself at the heart of it all, armed with nothing but patience, curiosity, and a growing collection of casserole recipes. The story of humanity's introduction to galactic society was far from over. In fact, it was just getting started, and if Cree had anything to say about it, it was going to be one hell of a ride. The Human Integration Project, Alien Disguises and Misunderstandings. As Cree's reports from Earth continued to fascinate and perplex the Galactic Council, a new initiative was born, the Human Integration Project. The idea was simple. Send representatives from various alien species to Earth, disguised as humans, to gather more diverse perspectives on this enigmatic species. What could possibly go wrong? Enter Zorp, a Blobbian from the gas giant Globulus AX. Blobbians were known for their shape-shifting abilities and their love of practical jokes. Zorp was tasked with infiltrating the human workplace, specifically a bustling tech startup in Silicon Valley. Remember, his superior gurgled at him before he left, "Maintain your human form at all times. We don't want another Roswell incident." Zorp jiggled in agreement, already imagining the fun he'd have on Earth. Meanwhile, in a remote forest in the Pacific Northwest, Solara of the Arborills was preparing for her mission. The tree-like beings of Sylvanus Prime were experts in standing still and blending in with vegetation. Thylara's job was to observe humans in their natural outdoor habitats. "Just don't let anyone mistake you for Bigfoot," the council had warned her. Thylara had no idea what a Bigfoot was, but she assured them she'd be careful. Lastly, in the heart of Tokyo, Commander Blip of the Micronia was setting up base in a young programmer's desktop computer. The microscopic aliens were perfect for infiltrating human technology and understanding how humans interacted with their devices. As these new agents settled into their roles, Cree, still known to her neighbors as Karen Aethers, was promoted to the position of Earth Mission Coordinator. Her first task, keeping tabs on the new arrivals and making sure they didn't blow their cover. Zorp's adventure in Silicon Valley got off to a rocky start. On his first day at the tech startup, he accidentally absorbed his chair, leading to an awkward moment when his colleague asked where he was sitting. "Oh, you know," Zorp laughed nervously, his human disguise sweating profusely. "I'm trying out this new standing desk thing. It's all the rage." His colleague nodded appreciatively. "Cool, man. Very eco-friendly. Hey, want to grab some Soylent later?" Zorp agreed, making a mental note to research what soylent was and hoping it wasn't some kind of human flesh derivative. Zilara, on the other hand, was having the time of her life in the forest. She spent her days standing perfectly still, observing hikers, campers, and wildlife. She found humans' reactions to nature fascinating. Some seemed to revel in it, while others complained about the lack of Wi-Fi, whatever that was. Her only close call came when a group of cryptozoology enthusiasts stumbled upon her during what they called a squatch hunt. Zilara remained motionless as they examined her, exclaiming over her lifelike bark and amazingly realistic branches. "This is the most convincing Bigfoot tree statue I have ever seen," one of them said, knocking on her trunk. Zilara suppressed a giggle, which the humans luckily mistook for the wind rustling through leaves. Meanwhile, Commander Blip was having the time of his microscopic life inside the Tokyo programmer's computer. He marveled at the strange rituals humans performed at their computers, the frantic typing, the frustrated sighs, the occasional victory dances when a piece of code finally worked. However, Blip's cover was nearly blown when he accidentally caused a pixel to stick on the programmer's screen. The human spent hours trying to fix it, even going so far as to open up the monitor. Blip had to perform some hasty maneuvering to avoid detection, leaving the programmer to scratch his head at the mysteriously self-repairing pixel. Back in Minneapolis, Cree was juggling her teaching job, community commitments, and her secret role as Earth Mission Coordinator. She found herself frequently making excuses to step away and handle alien emergencies. "Sorry, I need to take this call," she'd say, rushing out of a staff meeting. "My cousin's cat is stuck in a tree." Her colleagues started to wonder just how accident-prone this cat was, and why it was always Cree who had to deal with it. One particularly chaotic day, Cree had to handle crises from all three new agents simultaneously. Zorp had accidentally merged with the office water cooler, Zilara was being circled by an amorous moose, and Blip had inadvertently launched the programmer's half-finished app, causing a minor sensation on the Tokyo tech scene. As Cree talked Zorp through demerging from the water cooler, "Focus on your human form, and for the love of the galaxy, stop offering people drinks." She couldn't help but reflect on the absurdity of the situation. Here she was, an energy being from across the cosmos, pretending to be a high school science teacher, while managing a shapeshifter, a walking tree, and a microscopic alien computer expert, all in the name of understanding humanity. And the strangest part, she was loving every minute of it. As the Human Integration Project progressed, the Galactic Council received a steady stream of reports, each more bewildering than the last. Zorp's missives were full of Silicon Valley slang that nobody could decipher. "Humans are totally disrupting the paradigm with their synergistic blockchain solutions, dude." Zilara's reports read like poetic odes to the forest, with occasional interjections about strange human behaviors. They capture their own images with small devices, often while standing precariously on cliff edges. Is this a mating ritual? And Blip's updates were a mix of technical jargon and observations on human-computer interaction. They seemed to form emotional attachments to these machines, often addressing them with colorful language when they malfunction. Cree did her best to collate and make sense of these reports, adding her own insights from her continued life as Karen Ethers. She found herself becoming an advocate for humanity in council meetings, arguing passionately for patience and understanding. "Yes, they're chaotic," she'd say, her energy form flickering with emotion. "Yes, they're often confusing and contradictory, but they're also capable of incredible kindness, creativity, and resilience. They're worth the effort to understand." As the project entered its second year, an unexpected complication arose. Zorp, Zilara, and Blip, much like Cree before them, found themselves growing attached to the humans they were observing. Zorp had become an integral part of his startup, his shape-shifting abilities making him an asset in product design, though his colleagues just thought he was really good with his hands. Zilara had started subtly helping lost hikers find their way, earning a reputation among locals as a lucky tree that was good to rest under if you needed to get your bearings. And Blip had formed an odd sort of friendship with his programmer, using his influence over the computer to offer gentle nudges and bug fixes. During a secure conference call, Cree addressed her fellow agents. "I know we're all feeling conflicted," she said, choosing her words carefully. "Our mission is to observe and report, not to intervene. But I also know that remaining detached isn't always possible or even desirable. We need to find a balance." Zort's human face nodded on the screen. "I hear you, boss. But these humans are pretty cool, you know. Yesterday, my team pulled an all-nighter to finish a project, and there was this sense of camaraderie that was just rad." Taylora chimed in, her image swaying slightly as if in a breeze. "I've witnessed acts of selflessness and bravery in my forest. Humans helping each other, respecting nature. Most of the time, they have potential." Blip's voice came through a speaker, his image too small to be seen. "Their technology is primitive compared to ours, but their drive to innovate is impressive. My human stays up late into the night, driven by nothing but the desire to create something new." Cree felt a swell of pride in her team and in the humans they'd come to appreciate. "I know. I feel the same way. Which is why our next steps are crucial. The Council is starting to talk about official first contact. For real this time, not like the Zylaxian fiasco. We need to make sure they're prepared, both the Council and humanity." As the call ended, Cree looked out her window at the quiet Minneapolis street. A group of kids rode by on bikes, laughing and racing each other. A couple walked hand in hand, pausing to admire a neighbor's garden. In the distance, a dog barked happily. She thought about the vast, complex galactic society that humanity would soon be joining, with all its wonders and challenges. Then she thought about all the small, beautiful moments she'd witnessed on Earth, the simple joys and everyday kindnesses. "Oh, humans," she said softly to herself, a smile in her voice. "You have no idea what's coming. But something tells me you're going to handle it in your own unique, chaotic, wonderful way." As night fell, Cree sent off her daily report to the Council, but after the official summary, she added a personal note. Recommendation: proceed with caution, but also with hope. Humanity may not be ready for the galaxy, but I'm starting to think the galaxy might not be ready for humanity. And that, esteemed Council members, is what makes this all so exciting. With that, she closed her computer and headed to her kitchen. She had a neighborhood potluck to prepare for, and she was determined to finally master the art of the casserole. After all, if she was going to help introduce humanity to the galaxy, she might as well do it with a properly cooked Earth dish. The Human Integration Project was far from over, but it had already changed its participants in ways none of them had expected. As for how it would change humanity and the galactic community at large, well, that story was just beginning. Interstellar Incident: The Accidental Human Abduction. As the Human Integration Project progressed smoothly on Earth, the galactic community watched with bated breath. However, not everyone was content to sit back and observe. Enter Captain Zix 427 of the Quantarian explorer ship Cosmic Curiosity. A being known for his impulsive nature and complete disregard for bureaucratic red tape. "Observation is for cowards," Zix 427 declared to his crew, his tentacles waving dramatically. "We're going to make history. Prepare for a close encounter." Unbeknownst to the careful plans of Cree and her team, the Cosmic Curiosity was about to throw a quantum wrench into the works of galactic diplomacy. On a quiet night in suburban Ohio, Todd Anderson was taking out his trash. An unremarkable man with a remarkable love for conspiracy theories, Todd had always dreamed of alien contact. He just never expected it to happen while he was wearing sweatpants and arguing with his wife about whose turn it was to do the dishes. As Todd hefted the trash bag into the bin, a blinding light engulfed him. He felt a strange tingling sensation, and suddenly, he was no longer standing in his driveway. Instead, He found himself in a gleaming, otherworldly chamber, face to tentacle, with Captain 6427. "Greetings, Earth specimen," 6427 announced proudly. "You have been chosen for cultural exchange." Todd blinked, looked down at his ratty t-shirt and sweatpants, then back at the alien. A slow grin spread across his face. "I knew it," he whispered. "I knew it." Back on Earth, alarms were blaring in Kree's secret communication center, otherwise known as her garden shed. She had just received an urgent message from the Galactic Council about an unauthorized abduction. "Oh, for the love of quasars," Kree muttered, quickly switching to her human form as she heard her neighbor Susan approaching. "Everything okay, Karen?" Susan called out. "I heard some strange noises." Kree emerged from the shed, trying to look casual. "Oh, just trying out a new leaf blower. It's a bit loud." As Susan nodded and walked away, Kree let out a sigh of relief. She needed to handle this situation, and fast. She quickly sent out an alert to her team. Zorp, in the middle of a product pitch, suddenly felt his human phone vibrate with a special alert. He excused himself, claiming a family emergency, leaving his colleagues to wonder about his mysteriously accident-prone relatives. Lara, still posing as a tree, had to wait for a group of campers to leave before she could check the communication device hidden in her branches. When she saw the message, she let out a soft groan that the nearby squirrels mistook for the wind. Blip, nestled in the programmer's computer, received the alert and immediately began manipulating the computer's systems to give his human an unexpected day off. "Sorry, boss," the programmer muttered as he read the error message on his screen. "Looks like the servers are down. Yes, I'll take a personal day." As Kree's team scrambled to respond to the crisis, Todd was having the time of his life aboard the Cosmic Curiosity. Captain 6427, realizing he had accidentally abducted a human in leisure wear rather than a government official, decided to make the best of the situation. "Tell me, Earth creature," 6427 said, offering Todd a gelatinous cube that was supposedly food. "What is the meaning of the symbols on your chest garment?" Todd looked down at his shirt, which read Area 51 Fun Run. "The truth is out there." He grinned. "Oh man, you guys are gonna love this story." For the next few hours, Todd regaled the increasingly confused alien crew with tales of crop circles, ancient astronauts, and something called the History Channel. Captain 6427, who had been expecting to learn about Earth's political structures and technological capabilities, found himself taking notes on something called Bigfoot instead. Meanwhile, Kree had assembled her team for an emergency meeting in her living room, under the guise of a book club gathering. "Okay, team," she said, pacing back and forth. "We have a situation. An overzealous Quantarian captain has abducted a human. We need to get him back before this escalates into a full-blown diplomatic crisis." Yapple is home, adjusting her human form one last time. Today, she would shed the identity of Karen Ethers and reveal her true self to the world. She felt a mix of excitement and nostalgia as she looked around the house that had been her home for years. "Well," she said to her reflection, "here goes everything." Across the globe, her team was preparing for their roles in the summit. Zorp, in Silicon Valley, was tasked with explaining alien technology in terms humans could understand. Lara would be discussing interspecies ecological cooperation. And Blip, still nestled in his programmer's computer in Tokyo, would be handling the global broadcasting of the event. As world leaders gathered in a specially constructed dome in Geneva, Switzerland, the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. Rumors had been circulating for weeks about the nature of this summit, but nothing could have prepared them for what was about to unfold. The UN Secretary General stepped up to the podium, his face a mask of calm that barely concealed his excitement. "Distinguished guests," he began, "today we stand on the precipice of a new era for humanity. We are not alone in the universe, and our cosmic neighbors have come in peace." A murmur ran through the crowd as Kree, in her true energy form, floated onto the stage, Gasps and excited whispers filled the air. "Greetings, people of Earth," Cree said, her voice resonating with warmth. "I am Cree of the Aetherian Collective, and I come on behalf of the Galactic Council. We've been watching your progress with great interest, and we believe it's time for you to join the greater galactic community." As Cree began to explain the history of the Human Integration Project, screens around the world lit up with the broadcast. In living rooms, bars, town squares, and Times Square, humans watched in awe as their wildest science fiction dreams became reality. In a small suburb of Ohio, Todd Anderson sat with his family, a knowing smile on his face. "I told you the truth was out there," he whispered to his wife, who was too shocked to even roll her eyes at him. Back in Geneva, Cree introduced her team. Zorp shape-shifted through various forms, demonstrating the diversity of life in the galaxy. Thelyra appeared via hologram, her tree-like form drawing gasps of wonder. Blip's microscopic form was projected onto a large screen, waving his tiny appendages at the audience. As the initial shock wore off, the summit moved into its next phase, answering humanity's questions. World leaders, scientists, and pre-selected citizens from around the globe had the opportunity to ask about anything and everything. The questions came rapid-fire. How does faster-than-light travel work? Are there other Earth-like planets out there? What's the meaning of life? Can you cure diseases? Do you have sports in space? Cree and her team did their best to answer, often consulting with other experts from the Galactic Council via real-time quantum communication. Some answers were met with excitement, others with contemplation, and a few with laughter. When asked about the possibility of human-alien relationships, Zorp couldn't help but quip. "Well, I've been in a long-term relationship with a chair in my office. We've really bonded." The joke, much to the Galactic Council's relief, was met with appreciative chuckles. As the summit progressed, it became clear that while humanity was eager to join the galactic community, there were concerns. Questions about sovereignty, cultural preservation, and the potential for exploitation were raised. Cree addressed these fears head-on. "We do not come to conquer or to change you," she assured the assembly. "We come as friends, as partners. Earth and humanity will always be unique, and it's that uniqueness that makes you valuable to the galactic community. We're not here to make you like us. We're here to learn from each other." Her words seemed to resonate, easing some of the tension in the room. The summit continued late into the night, with discussions ranging from philosophical debates about the nature of consciousness to practical matters like adapting Earth's economy to galactic standards. As dawn broke over Geneva, the first phase of the Galactic Peace Summit came to a close. The world leaders emerged, tired but exhilarated, to address the people of Earth. The UN Secretary-General spoke first. "My fellow Earthlings," he said, a hint of a smile at the term, "today marks the dawn of a new age for humanity. We have been welcomed into a community of worlds beyond our imagination. There will be challenges ahead, adjustments to be made, but we face this future united, not just as a planet, but as part of a grand cosmic family." Cree floated forward, her energy form glowing warmly in the morning light. "People of Earth," she said, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I officially welcome you to the interstellar community. Your journey to the stars has only just begun, and we are honored to walk this path with you." As cheers erupted around the world, Cree couldn't help but reflect on her years on Earth. She thought of her students, her neighbors, the small moments of human kindness and creativity she had witnessed. She thought of Zorp's enthusiasm, Thelyra's patience, and Blip's quiet dedication. Most of all, she thought of the incredible potential that humanity represented. In the days that followed, Earth was abuzz with excitement and activity. Plans were made for cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, and even the first human embassy on another world. There were, of course, challenges. Some reacted with fear, others with skepticism. But overall, the spirit of hope and curiosity prevailed. Cree and her team found themselves busier than ever, acting as bridges between humanity and the galactic community. Zorp's startup pivoted to developing human-friendly versions of alien tech. Xylara began working with environmental scientists on galactic conservation efforts. Blipped, to his programmer's surprise, revealed himself and offered to help upgrade Earth's internet to quantum entanglement standards. As for Kree, she took on the role of Earth's official liaison to the Galactic Council. But she never forgot her time as Karen Ethers. In fact, she kept her little house in Minneapolis, returning there whenever she needed a reminder of why she had fallen in love with humanity in the first place. One evening, months after the summit, Kree sat on her porch, watching the sunset. Her neighbor, Susan, joined her with a glass of wine, just like old times. "You know," Susan said, looking up at the sky where the first stars were becoming visible, "I always thought you had a bit of a glow about you. Guess now I know why." Kree laughed, a sound like tinkling bells. "I'm going to miss our chats, Susan." "Oh, please." Susan waved her hand dismissively. "You're not getting rid of me that easily. Someone's got to keep you up to date on neighborhood gossip. Can't let you go reporting to your Galactic Council without the really important information." As they sat there, laughing and chatting, a shooting star streaked across the sky. But it wasn't a star, Kree knew. It was a ship carrying the first group of human ambassadors to the Galactic Council. Humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. There would be challenges ahead, misunderstandings to navigate, and bridges to build. But as Kree watched that ship disappear into the darkness, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of an entire planet, she felt a sense of profound optimism. The universe would never be the same, and neither would humanity. But then again, change was what humans did best. As for the rest of the galaxy, well, they had no idea what they were in for. Kree smiled to herself. This was going to be fun.